Are y'all ready to dive into May 2024 astrology forecast? Tune in because we're about to dive in. Hey y'all, it's your girl Jasmeen, the owner of House of Chiron Astrology and Reiki, and I make the language of astrology digestible for all of y'all. So welcome on into this wonderful, wonderful space where we dive into all the things astrology, spirituality, Reiki, and so on and so forth. Okay. So with that being said, I'm sure you are noticing that this is something new. We are making Galactic Gossip a podcast now, okay? Moving forward, making some changes. Mercury retrograde came through with the innovation, with the rebrand, with all the things. Okay, so with that being said, if you are new, this is also new for everyone else. But go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and make sure that you are in tune with all the things from House of Chiron, because Galactic Gossip is here every month and we go into deep detail about the astrological transits, what that means for us on an individual level, but also collectively. In Galactic Gossip, we will be making some changes moving forward, but I'll get into that when we come to the announcements. But we go into all the astrology information, but we also, at the end, we wrap up with like a dice roll where we go into a collective message from spirit for everyone that is here tuning in and so on and so forth. And we also have on House of Chiron's YouTube channel, we have various videos such as the new moon and full moon videos. We also do videos for like special transits and special things that are coming up, in the ethers. We discuss that. Moving forward, we're going to be having some changes. So stay tuned. But before I get into these announcements, I just want to say thank you all for being here. Thank you for supporting my channel. If you are returning, you have been here for however long you've been here. So I really appreciate your presence and your support. Okay. Now, let's get into the reason why we're all here. Okay. And I'll get into all the extra pleasantries later on. Okay. So we are here to discuss May 2024 astrology. So what does that look like? Right. The astrological landscape for this month is really going to be rich and, I guess you can say, potent, rich and potent for growth, right? Giving us the potential not only for growth, but also transformation. I know we've had a lot of that energy, but even then, we can always do a lot more transforming. We can always do a lot more growth. We're going to be doing a lot of reevaluation of our values, especially concerning like relationships and financial matters. And keep in mind that at the very start of this month, Pluto is going to be stationing retrograde. So we are officially in retrograde season. It kicked off with Mercury being in retrograde in Aries. But now that it's direct, it's like, oh, wait, we got to go retrograde with Pluto. And then every other planet thereafter will follow. So Pluto's retrograde is going to happen in Aquarius, of course, and that's urging us to really like transform our communal and technology engagements and whatnot. So just kind of keep that in mind. There might be like a release of outdated systems and thinking patterns, but we'll dive into what that means and what it looks like in a moment. The presence of like multiple planets that are in the sign of Taurus, or that will be moving into the sign of Taurus, including the new moon, as well as Mercury, Venus, and Uranus, which is still there and will be there for a little bit longer, is really going to be highlighting themes of like stability and value and sudden changes within our material and relational worlds. There's also going to be some transits that's happening with the Sun and Jupiter moving into Gemini towards the end of May. And, this is just activating a period of intellectual expansion and curiosity and ideas and relation and, just communicating in general and exploring new ideas and how we can connect with other people, especially with Pluto being retrograde in Aquarius. So it's going to be highlighting what we need to rethink and redo in that area of our life. And then there's going to be that reinforcement by Jupiter's aspect to Neptune, that's enhancing our intuition along with our spiritual growth. And then that trine to Pluto, which is going to be deepening that transformation that we need, that's needed in impacting our communities and as well as within our communication within our communities. So, kind of keep all of that in the forefront of your mind. And, for those that are like seeking personal and spiritual growth, this month is really offering several powerful windows for setting those intentions that aligns with your highest values, especially around like the new moon time. And we're going to have an opportunity to engage in like introspective practices that harness the introspective power of this Pluto retrograde that's embracing the stability and the resourcefulness that's in alignment also with Taurus, to ground our aspirations, making them tangible, bringing them to reality, and utilizing that dynamic energy at the same time from Gemini, right, to spread our ideas, to learn from the environment, to have those communications and that open dialogue, right? So, anywho, as we navigate these transits throughout this month, it's really essential for us to maintain flexibility and openness to the change that's happening, especially under the influence of Uranus being in Taurus. And, we know as we have been experiencing that Uranus and Taurus can bring unexpected twists and turns, especially within the material world, within agriculture, within food, within our values, within our finances, and our relationships. So, balancing the practical with the philosophical will be key during the month of May as we expand our horizons and explore the new dimensions of like understanding and collaboration and what that all looks like for us. Because it looks different, individually, but collectively, it can look completely different than what we're used to. It's the whole point of Pluto being in Aquarius, right? It's a new time. So, that being said, let's talk about Pluto stationed in retrograde at 2 degrees in the sign of Aquarius. This is happening at the highlight, at the start, at the height of May 2nd, all the way through October 11th of 2024. We're going to be experiencing Pluto in its backward motion. And so when the planet of transformation and rebirth kind of stations retrograde in this innovative sign of Aquarius is really signaling a potent period for introspection and recalibration, right? That's concerning our societal roles and technical advancements and engagements. This retrograde phase is challenging us to scrutinize the structures and the ideologies that have shaped our communal interactions, right? Urging us to discard that no longer serves the collective good for everyone, right? So during the retrograde, Pluto's influence intensifies, right? So people think, okay, it goes retrograde, kind of goes to sleep. Not necessarily. Pluto's already intense as it is, right? And it intensifies once it goes retrograde, especially once it stations, because it's standing still and it's like building this momentum to go backwards. So it intensifies and is promoting and prompting us like a deep dive into themes of reform and revolution. And with it being in the sign of Aquarius, this sign is associated with progressiveness and humanitarian efforts and guiding this transformative energy towards social systems and group ideologies. So it's a period that's marked by the reconsideration of our contributions to society and the collective at large. So as we kind of see how things are kind of manifesting, we can see like these conversations that are happening, we can see that they're trying to like mute us and silence our voices. We can see like even in certain podcasts and certain conversations and things that are happening, other things are being brought to our awareness, right? And so, like I said, it is a period that is marked by reconsideration of our contributions to society and the collective at large, as well as the technology that we use to connect and progress, right? So TikTok bans, so on and so forth, all that stuff. So things might come into a reconsideration. And this phase is really about restructuring and regenerating these areas to foster a more inclusive and forward-thinking community. Now, keep in mind, there's going to be several aspects with this. So while Pluto stations retrograde, it's going to be squaring Venus that's, in Taurus. So the fixed signs going to be basically squaring this energy. And, it's that square aspect to Venus and Taurus is really introducing like the tension between the realms of transformation, which is the Pluto energy, and comfort, which is the Venus energy. So stepping out of your comfort zone, going against or radically changing and transforming or rebirthing your values. Venus and Taurus value stability and beauty and practicality in relationships and finances in the material world and our food, right? So this square aspect is really challenging these values, pushing and pushing for profound shifts that may initially feel uncomfortable, but are necessary for growth. Like anything worth having is not necessarily going to come to you easy. We don't necessarily learn from the ease of life. Like we appreciate the ease of life because we understand the importance and the necessity of the challenges and the tension that creates growth, that creates resilience. And that's what this is a reminder of, that we have to step out of our comfort zone in order to grow, right? So the impact of this energy on relationships, right? Personal relationships, especially with this aspect, can surface, bring things up to the surface that are deep-seated, right? Especially issues that are related to security and trust. That square to Venus is really forcing a confrontation with issues that may have been buried or ignored or glossed over, or whatever, that's like requiring us to address them so that way we can grow, transform, heal, and move on. And it doesn't necessarily have to be intimate connections. It could be business connections, associates, it could be your friendships, it could be any type of interpersonal connection that you have. And just understanding that it's time to break free from those stagnant patterns and embrace healthier dynamics, even if the process can bring some type of like tumultuous experience. Like we could really be going through tumultuous times, right? So just not necessarily in like a scary kind of way. We have the ability, the power, the resilience to face things with, things that we're afraid of. And it's telling us like, step out of your comfort zone, face your fears, have those conversations, quit being scary, basically. So this impact on finances with Venus, because Venus, of course, is finances, and with that square from Pluto stationing to, with our financial planet, so to speak, it might provoke a reassessment of what truly holds value and security, right? Looking at it like, is this really providing me security? Is this really, what I value? The comfort and stability that Taurus seeks in material possessions may be challenged by that Pluto energy, Pluto's demand for change. And so investments, resources, and even sources of income might need a profound transformation. So you might be getting a new job. You might be looking for new streams of income. It just depends on how this is aspecting your individual chart. But on a collective level, this is what we're leading to experience. This transit is really going to be asking us to let go of outdated financial practices and embrace more sustainable and meaningful ones. Just saying, quit that job if it ain't fulfilling you. Go find you something else to do. Take that leap of faith and start your own business, as an example. So, anywho, when it comes to navigating this period of Pluto stationing retrograde, maintaining the flexibility and openness to change is important. Changes that are stirred by this transit through potential, I guess you can say, potential challenges that are aimed at like removing what is outdated to make for new growth, to make way for that new growth, for deeper connections, for other opportunities, right? Engaging with this energy by reflecting on your role within your community and your personal relationships, identifying what needs transformation, what needs change, what needs to be rebirthed if necessary, right? Incorporating practices that ground you and connect you to your core values, and use this time to really strengthen your foundation as you prepare for the changes that lie ahead. That's also kind of like key and important. This is a powerful time, really, like just to set the intention to align with the transformed and enlightened vision of your future self. Okay, that's just what it is. All right, so moving on. We have Mercury in this energy is going to be conjunct Chiron. I'm going to talk about this. Like, I normally don't talk about these types of transits all the time unless they're like major. And I feel like any conjunction with Chiron is really major. So Mercury is still in this conjunction with Chiron because, we've had all this energy with Mercury being conjunct Chiron and the North Node and whatnot with this. We had like the new moon and so on and so forth. So Mercury and Chiron, right now that Mercury is direct and is stationing, or not stationing, is conjunct Chiron at 21 degrees Aries. This happens on May the 6th, right? So this conjunction with Mercury and Chiron, now that Mercury is direct, is important to kind of understand, right? Aries is really assertive and it's really presenting a powerful opportunity for healing through communication. So the things that you have been reevaluating while Mercury conjunct Chiron, while it was retrograde, is going to be coming up again for you to kind of communicate and move forward with it, right? Take action on what needs to be, addressed or changed or implemented. Whatever thoughts, whatever revelations came up, now you have forward movement. Right. So this transit is really highlighting the potential for conversations that need to be addressed, potentially healing personal wounds or unresolved trauma, things that are related to your identity, to your self-image, to your confidence, to your ability to initiate things. Mercury is in Aries, right? So the planet that governs communication and thought process and exchange of information is really operating with a direct speed when it's in the sign of Aries. So this placement is encouraging straightforward and sometimes impulsive communications. So with Mercury and Aries, our thoughts and words are really quick, especially with it being direct now, very passionate and often driven by our immediate reactions, right? Something that is more primal because that's that Mars Aries energy, okay? Because Mars rules Aries. So anywho, with Chiron being in Aries, and it has been in Aries and will continue to be in Aries for a little bit longer. Chiron, the wounded healer, you all know that. It's really influencing where we feel healing is necessary. Often this is illuminating our deepest wounds to offer us a chance to address them. Like I always say with Chiron, it's nothing to fix, there's only things to accept. And with it being in Aries, it's about self-acceptance, right? So these wounds are often related to our sense of identity, assertiveness, initiation, like I mentioned, and issues around leadership, self-affirmation, independence. They are all coming to the forefront. So the conjunction of these two energies, right, with Mercury and Chiron, the alignment really is like suggesting a significant moment for therapeutic dialogues. Talk the talk, have the conversation, heal through communication. It's a great time for you to seek psychotherapy if that's something that you need to kind of like understand the traumas and the wounds that are present, right? This transit is really providing an opening to do such things, right? To explore and articulate personal challenges related to self-esteem, assertiveness, identity, all of these aspects of things. It's really an ideal time for us to have these conversations that might normally be difficult, but lead to profound revelations and healing. That's the whole point. Healing through communication. This aspect is really facilitating discussions about personal pain points and challenges with directness and courage provided by this Aries energy. It encourages us not only to talk about wounds, but actively using these insights to initiate the healing of said wounds. You see what I'm saying? So the energy of Aries is it's giving courage to face these issues head on, while Mercury's influence is helping to articulate the inner struggles clearly and effectively. So we're able to identify them, but also we're able to articulate what they are. And then since it's in the sign of Aries, we're able to see the action needed to accept, make things better, heal, progress. All right. So it's transforming pain into power. That's what this is. I'll tell you the truth. What this is. Mercury and Chiron and Aries really offer the pathway to transform that pain into empowerment, right? And I always say that Chiron, it tells you where your deepest wounds are, but it also shows you where your greatest power lies. There's power within the pain because you can turn that pain into passion and allow it to fuel you to inspire others. And by confronting and discussing these painful or challenging parts of our identities and past actions, we begin to reclaim that power. You take it into your own hands. You are the author of your story. You can narrate what that pain meant to you. You can narrate it, and that can empower you, right? So this transit is really encouraging us to find our voice, to speak about our vulnerabilities, and in doing so, taking steps towards healing, in reclaiming our self-agency. Okay, so now, the guidance I would say for this is really important, right? Navigating this transit, engaging in, like I said, those dialogues and those conversations that might be challenging, but are absolutely necessary for healing. You can use journaling, you can use other therapeutic conversations to explore personal identity issues or past traumas. Being open to feedback and different perspectives is really key, right? Because one way is not the only way. One idea is not the only idea. And so, as this can provide valuable insights for our individual healing journey, but also collectively, you might be able to teach someone something from your own experience. It's the whole point of Chiron, and vice versa. So, just consider professional guidance if you need to, such as therapy, like I said, to fulfill whatever it is that you need, right? And making sure that you're able to fully utilize the energy for personal growth and healing, because now is the time. All right. So now we're going to get into the discussion about this new moon. It's going to be a brief discussion because, like I said before, we go really deep into detail in the new moon video as well as the full moon videos. And in those, we give readings for all 12 signs, so you'll know exactly what intentions to set for the new moon video and what you are releasing or coming to a fullness of in the full moon video by your sun, moon, and rising, okay? So new moon is happening at 18 degrees Taurus on May the 7th. And it happens in the evening. So I am Texas, so I'm Central Time. And it's about 10:21 p.m. when we will we won't see it because it's a new moon, but we'll have this new moon in Taurus. So in the evening, the late evening. So it depends on where you are in the world. So it might even be later if you're on the East Coast, but it could be a little bit earlier, around 8 o'clock if you're on the West Coast. So that being said, the new moon in the sign of Taurus is really bringing this fertile moment of planting seeds, right? It's kind of like conducive to Taurus, right? It's about Earth, planting seeds of intention that's going to help you focus on stability, abundance, and sensual pleasures, right? Finances, and abundance in all ways, in all aspects. It's not just monetary. And so, with this lunar event in the sign of Taurus, is particularly potent as it is forming conjunctions with both Venus and Jupiter that are in Taurus right before they're getting ready to move on into into Gemini. All right. So it's amplifying themes of love, beauty, and growth, right? That Taurus energy. And then there's also going to be a sextile. Yes, there's a sextile that's happening to Saturn that's in Pisces. And this is adding a supportive structure to these intentions, right? So it's blending our dreams with practicality. It's allowing us to make our dreams come into reality, bringing things into, making it tangible. Okay. So there's also, other aspects of this that's going on with this new moon. But like I said, I will be diving deep into that in the new moon reading. So like I said, if you are not subscribed to my channel, it's good to do so right now so you will not miss that, because I go into deep detail and I give readings for all 12 signs, so you'll know exactly what intentions to set for this new moon in Taurus. Okay. So moving on, we are going to be talking about, let's see, Mercury entering into Taurus. Yes. So now that we are halfway through the month of May, and we still have so much more to go, Mercury enters into Taurus on May the 15th until June the 3rd. Mercury is coming out of Aries after being retrograde for 3 weeks, being in Aries this entire time. So things can finally start to settle down, slow down just a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay. So Mercury, like I said, is moving into Taurus. The pace of communication and thought is going to be shifting, right? It's shifting from quick and impulsive to steady and deliberate, right? Thinking a little bit longer before we act, because Mercury in Aries had us all a bit impulsive and aggressive, and the retrograde was that too, aggressive. So Taurus, what is Taurus? Taurus is going to be encouraging a pragmatic and more so like, what is the word I'm looking for? Can't think of the word. I mean, I want to say realistic, but whatever, we'll go with it. So it's going to be giving us that kind of approach to processing and sharing information. Favoring more like stability and clarity over speed. So this period is really marked by practical thinking. That's the word I was looking for. I was looking for practical. Okay, so it's going to be practical. We're going to have some practical thinking, especially in the areas related to like finances, material possessions, sensual pleasures, relationships, art, beauty, music, all the, Venusian things. Now, Mercury in Taurus, right? Normally, it automatically, if you have like a Mercury in Taurus in your natal chart, you process things on a more deliberate pace, right? So a slow down pace. It's kind of like you need time to process what's being presented to you in order for you to like fully grasp and understand what needs to be done with the information that you're providing. You take your time to understand all the different facets of things, right? So when we have this Mercury moving into the sign of Taurus, it's going to do the same thing for us, slow down our mental processes, right? Enabling, a thorough and methodical approach to communication and decision making, just like the natural Mercury and Taurus people have, that people like, Mercury and Aries, we typically, I'm not going to say we because I don't have Mercury and Aries, but typically Mercury and Aries individuals, they see it and they can process information very quickly, but 9 times out of 10, they also tend to act or be impulsively in their thinking process of like subscribing to that thought without, completely understanding the nuances of it all, right? So now we're going from this Mercury and Aries energy where we have to think of things quick. We have to be really quick and innovative. We have to, you know, be very action oriented when it comes to our mindset of things. Now we're going to a different approach to it. So it's going to really favor discussions that are grounded in realism and practicality, making it an excellent time for planning and negotiations, particularly those involving financial and material resources. Okay. So also at the time that it's moving into Taurus, it's going to be square Pluto in Aquarius that's currently retrograde. Okay, so Mercury is promoting that stability, and that square to Pluto in Aquarius is going to be introducing a dynamic of tension because, like I said, squares create tension and challenges so that way we can grow. And this has a lot to do with our communication and our thought process, our ideas. So that desire for security, mental security, physical security, and a need for change, right? So communications and information could be coming to us at this time. Now, like I said, Pluto is the planet of transformation. So it's in the progressive sign of Aquarius. So the challenges that Taurus preference for the status quo is pushing for an evolution in thoughts and communication. So the challenging established thoughts that we are going to experience comes from the aspects that's provoking deep questioning on our current ways of thinking, especially those that are related to like I said, security and traditional values. You may find yourself questioning what you previously took for granted or confronting truths that unsettle, but they are ultimately transforming your perspective. So it's like, I used to value this thing, but it was superficial because Pluto in Aquarius is saying, hey, get rid of the old, outdated ways of being and doing and thinking. And so now you're kind of like reevaluating your values and you're reevaluating what you really, truly have taken for granted. And then you're going to be able to put it into action. You're going to be able to move forward in making some change or some transformation. So those transformative communications are going to come from this because the square between Mercury and Pluto is really compelling us to like communicate uncomfortable and transformative topics. Discussing things that may involve power dynamics or secrets or revolutionary ideas that's disrupting the peace but are necessary for long-term growth, hence the protests that are happening, so on and so forth. These interactions are also, they're possible for like contentious, but they're meant to like reveal deeper truths and facilitate significant change. So just kind of keep that in mind. And what we can do to effectively navigate this energy is, like I said before, embrace a flexible mindset. We must remain open to change. We must maintain flexibility, allowing ourselves to really consider new ideas and perspectives, especially those that challenge our usual way of thinking, approaching potential, disruptive conversations with patience and openness. That's also going to be key. Recognizing that discomfort can lead to growth and necessary changes in understanding. Where you see and feel something that is uncomfortable, especially like if there's no harm being done, right? It's just a conversation, so to speak. That's an invitation for you to gain a different or a deeper perspective, or even a broader perspective on something. Take it and try to navigate, try and understand it, right? Instead of shutting it down. And I feel like with the Pluto and Aquarius energy is going to help us with that. We can also utilize this time to reassess our values and the information that we rely on, particularly in how we relate to our sense of security and material well-being. Being mindful of how we communicate during potentially volatile discussions, striving for clarity and stability in our words, but being prepared to address deeper and more transformative topics. Like I said, instead of just shutting people out because they differ than you, or their thoughts or their processes differ than you, or their beliefs and things, just hear them out, try and gain a broader perspective. Even if you don't agree, at least you can understand. Ain't nothing wrong with understanding. So Mercury and Taurus, like I said, it'll be squaring Pluto and Aquarius. So that's an opportunity to ground our revolutionary ideas into practical application, while it may even like challenge us to rethink and possibly reshape our foundational beliefs. It also supports the integration of these insights in a more stable and sustainable framework. Okay. Now, moving forward, Venus is going to make a conjunction with Uranus at 23 degrees Taurus. So this is happening on May 18th. And this conjunction with Venus and Uranus in Taurus is bringing this surge of unexpected energy to our relationships and our financial affairs. So this aspect is known for sparking sudden attractions, innovative financial ideas, and maybe even whims of money, windfalls of money, just depending on how it's aspecting your chart, and unconventional approaches to like beauty and pleasure, even art. This might be a wonderful time for you, like if you're an artist, to just do something out of the blue. Okay, so Venus is in Taurus, and the Venus energy, right? Venus is at home when it's in Taurus. Venus is comfortable, it's chilling, it knows who it is when it's in the sign of Taurus. And so it is enhancing our appreciation for the sensual comfort, luxury, and stability in relationships and finances. So Venus's influence here emphasizes the value of lasting connections and the accumulation of possessions that bring pleasure and comfort to ourselves as well as others. Right now, Uranus being in Taurus is, the planet of sudden changes and innovation. So it's disrupting the same thing that I just spoke about, right? It's disrupting Taurus's typically steady nature, and it's introducing like this element of like surprise and novelty, right? Its presence in the sign of Taurus revolutionizes our values and our approach to money and material possessions and our relationships. Now, when these two come into a conjunction, Venus and Uranus together is telling us to expect the unexpected in areas that's ruled by Venus, such as love, money, and aesthetics. You might encounter unusual opportunities for financial gain, or experience sudden shifts in how we like appreciate values, and experimenting with new ways of enjoying and valuing life, the things that bring us joy and pleasure. All right. Now, of course, Venus rules relationships also. So this influence can lead to sudden romances or changes in existing relationships. So it's an ideal time for exploring new ways of connecting with partners or expressing affection and attraction in non-traditional manners. Okay. So just think outside the box. Don't do the same old mundane stuff. Pluto is in Aquarius and it's squaring this energy also. So it's telling us to just like be different, transform, be passionate, be deep, you know? So now, also on a financial aspect of things, this influence, this conjunction is like sparking innovative ideas in financial matters. So also you might have like, since Uranus is the ruler of like technology, cryptocurrency is one of those things that it rules. You might find like that whoever, if you're into like stocks, the stock market, cryptocurrency, you might see that, excuse me, you have an unexpected windfall, or you might see an increase in your investments, right? You might even get some new investment strategies, and you might have like some unexpected sources of income that come in, or unexpected turn of events when it comes to your investment strategies or whatever investments you have. This is also emphasizing a need for freedom. The emphasis on freedom is, about breaking away from traditional financial practices. So the stock market, we might see some really disruptive changes that happen around this time. Okay, especially because, same time, the sun is going to be conjunct Jupiter at 28 degrees Taurus. All right, so with the sun and Jupiter conjunct, this happens on May 18th. This is also like highlighting that energy as well. Okay, so with the sun being in Taurus and Jupiter also being in Taurus, it's like a fortuitous moment, alignment. It's expanding the sun energy, it's expanding what the sun illuminates, right? Which is self-identity, personal goals, vitality, happiness and joy, creative self-expression. So with Jupiter's influence, Jupiter's going to be adding growth and optimism and abundance. So we kind of got to be careful a little bit, especially if this is like aspecting your sun's placement, exact, right? So like if you in fact have your sun at 28 degrees Taurus, this energy might like be careful of an overinflated ego, or doing things from a space of ego, negative ego, because ego is good. People tell you that ego is good to a certain degree. Too much of anything is bad. So is that. So anywho, just kind of keep that in mind. But, the sun in Taurus focuses on stability, practicality, and perseverance. And it's encouraging us to build and maintain a solid foundation in our lives, whether through securing material resources or establishing reliable and consistent routines, all of those things. Jupiter in Taurus here is really like telling us that these themes of stability, luxury, and slow growth are here and is being magnified. It's going to be bringing good fortune and expansion to the Taurus ruled areas, like material possessions and pleasures and physical, connections through our own initiatives, right? Through our own perseverance, because it's conjunct the sun. And so this conjunction, like the benefits of it is saying that, enhancing personal confidence and optimism. It's a powerful time for us to really grow in personal and professional realms. It's ideal for launching new projects, especially those involving personal finances or resource management, because it's in the sign of Taurus. All right, now also we have, for personal growth and expansion purposes, setting those ambitious goals is great during this time. Setting intentions, like I said, conjunctions are always a time of a new beginning, so we can really see something new happening during this time. And it could be, like I said, related to wealth, physical health, or acquiring valuable assets. The expansive nature of Jupiter combined with this sun's focused energy and self-identity kind of things or themes more so encourages bold yet practical moves towards enhancing personal security and comfort. All right, so after that the sun moves into Gemini, right? So it's at the very end of the degrees when it's in Taurus, making this conjunction, then the sun mosey on his way into the Gemini on May the 20th. So from May 20th until June 20th is Gemini season. It's my season. So happy solar return to all of you Geminis out there, myself included. I'm a June Gemini, by the way. So Yeah, y'all just keep that in mind. Make sure y'all tell me happy birthday on June 11th. Anywho, but we'll get there. So for the Gemini influence, the sun entering into Gemini, right? The sun is moving into, the sign of communication, right? The focus is going to shift towards communication and curiosity and connectivity, being able to relate, being out in the community. Gemini is an air sign known for intellectual stimulation, for adaptability, for its social nature. So this period is really going to be characterized by an increase in interest in gathering information, engaging in dialogue, and exploring various forms of communication. Now, the sun in Gemini is going to be illuminating our social interactions, our thinking process, and the exchange of ideas, right? The transit is really encouraging us to learn, teach, and connect, relate to one another. It's a time when multitasking thrives. Okay. Curiosity leads to discovery. Just keep that in mind. If you go looking for something, you're going to find it. Okay. And that's something that I live by. The energy is dynamic when we are in this sun and Gemini energy because it's quick-witted, it's highly communicative. It's perfect for networking and social activities, and the energy and hopefully the weather wherever you are is good for it. Get outside. We outside and whatever. So anywho, now the sun, like I said, it's in Gemini, and Gemini is a mutable air sign, so it's naturally going to be squaring the mutable signs. So that's Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. And so during this Gemini season, the sun is going to be making some challenges with those signs. So there's going to be major growth for the mutable energies here. So the aspect is really like introducing a tension between the desire for intellectual exploration and the need for practical, philosophical, and spiritual integration. So keep that in mind. We have Saturn in Pisces. We don't have anything in Virgo or Sagittarius, but even then, it's still going to be influencing. If you have any personal planets in Virgo, Sagittarius, or Pisces, the sun is going to be affecting that energy. Okay. So kind of keep that in mind, challenges with knowledge, with the Virgo energy, the depth and detail, can't say that, conflicts between like the need for comprehensive understanding versus the desire for a broad overview, and then when you take into account the Sagittarius energy, there's going to be like that tension between or a clash between facts and beliefs, right? So Gemini's focus on data and information may conflict with Sagittarius' search for meaning and truth. And then when you tie into the sun squaring the Pisces energy, it's like a challenge between logic and intuition. Gemini's logical, and sometimes, superficial in the approach to information might actually conflict with Pisces' emotional, intuitive grasp on situations. So just kind of think about that as we are going through Gemini season and so on and so forth. Think about your mutable friends out there and how they could be, experiencing this energy, even though it's our birthday season for Geminis. All right. So moving on, we have Venus making a conjunction to Jupiter at 29 degrees Taurus. So, like I said, conjunctions represent a time of like a new beginning. And this is a really great one. It's happening at the critical degree. It's the anaretic degree. It's the 29th degree. So this marks a potent moment of culmination and transition in the areas of love, beauty, finances, and values, right? So this aspect is like supercharging the themes of abundance and pleasure. It's offering a rare opportunity for growth and expansion in material and relational realms. Venus and Jupiter and Taurus, when they are combined together in this way, it's a sign of exaltation. It's amplifying the natural Taurus inclination towards stability and luxury and enjoyment of life's pleasures. And so this conjunction is really telling us to seek the need to expand our sense of security, beauty, and prosperity, and it may just provide that gift to us. Okay, so kind of keep that going. Now, moving on, after that, we have the full moon that happens at 2 degrees Sagittarius. So full moon in Sagittarius on May 23rd. That's happening in the early morning of May 23rd. So Central Time is around 8:52 in the morning. If you're on the East Coast, it's probably going to be around 9 in the morning. And if you're on the West Coast, it's probably going to be around 6 in the morning. Okay. So Real quick overview, because we're going to go into deeper detail in its own separate video. This full moon in Sagittarius is going to be more so illuminating the quest for knowledge, adventure, and expansion of our horizons. And this event is going to emphasize the understanding and wisdom, and then challenging us to kind of look beyond the immediate and familiar in order to embrace the broader perspective of things. So when it comes to like travel, higher education, our beliefs, our life path, Sagittarius full moon is just showing the culmination or the release of something. And with its fiery and expansive nature, it's inviting us to explore philosophical and cultural boundaries. Okay. So we'll dive deeper into that as we get on with the rest of the month. I'll go into another video for the Sagittarius full moon. We dive deep, okay? So moving on, we then move on into Venus entering into Gemini, okay? So Venus in Gemini is going to be joining Jupiter in Gemini shortly after, and I'll do a separate video on Jupiter entering into Gemini, but once we get there, we'll get there. So Venus moving into Gemini, right? So Venus has been at home in the sign of Taurus for about 4 weeks. And Venus transit into Gemini is going to be focusing the shift on social interactions and intellectual stimulation and playful expression of love and affection. So when in Gemini, Venus kind of encourages a lighthearted approach to relationships, values, and communication. Versatility and curiosity in your partnerships may increase during this time. It's a period that's really marked by an increase for like a desire for social activities, flirting, enjoying variety of interests, going on dates and intellectual pursuits, and just lots of communication and talking. And so it just depends on how it's aspecting your chart, of course, for you to see what this is and what it's going to be like. So for you on an individual level, but collectively, Venus is going to be promoting connections that are intellectually stimulating and fostering communication, because it values versatility and variety in relationships and pursuits. It's making it an excellent time for like exploring new social settings and engaging in lively discussions. So keep that in mind. Now, there's also an opposition that's happening to the moon that's in Taurus. I mean, not Taurus, in Sagittarius at this time. So while Venus is in Gemini, it's opposite Sagittarius. The moon is currently there. We just, during the time of the full moon in Sagittarius. So this is creating a dynamic of tension between the two. So between the desire for something new and stimulating, which is the Gemini energy, and the need for something more profound, more philosophical engagements, that's the Sagittarius energy. So that aspect is highlighting balancing between depth and breadth, right, in our relation and emotional social exchanges that we have. And so, balancing, variety and depth, that aspect is really challenging us to like, engage in something that's lighthearted, but also surface level interactions and seeking deeper, more meaningful connections. There needs to be a balance between the two. It's encouraging like integration of fun and also serious elements in our relationships and social activities. Now, also, it's going to be trining Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. So this trine to Pluto retrograde in Aquarius is bringing a transformation that is supportive and conducive to growth in relationships and social dynamics. So it's enhancing the ability to form connections that are not only intellectually stimulating, but also deeply transformative, right? So then there's going to be like a sextile to Neptune that's in Pisces. So the Venus in Gemini, sextile in Neptune in Pisces, that energy is adding a layer of romanticism, idealism, creativity to Venus's social and intellectual pursuits. So, it's like a gentle aspect that kind of like softens the sometimes overly rational nature of Gemini with a touch of like Pisces dreaminess and intuition. So there's that. All right. Now, moving on, briefly talk about Jupiter entering into Gemini, but I will be making a separate video for this because it's a special transit. Jupiter enters into Gemini once every 12 to 14 years, just depending. So we won't see Jupiter in Gemini again until, 12 years from 2025 or whatever. So That being said, Jupiter will be entering into Gemini on May 25th until June 9th. And so, as Jupiter enters into Gemini, it's bringing a year of expansion and growth and enrichment in the realms of communication, learning, social connections, information. Like the information is going to increase. We're going to be hit with so much of things that we didn't know. It's crazy. All right. Jupiter and Gemini is really like fostering intellectual curiosity, encouraging exploration of new ideas, and enhancing communicative abilities, being able to communicate in various ways, right? This transit is ideal for broadening one's understanding through diverse experiences and exchanges. So we might be seeing some changes in travel, because Jupiter rules long distance journeys, whereas Gemini rules short, quick trips, road trips, those things. We might see some changes or expansion in our transportation systems. When it comes to like airplanes and maybe even the railways. Logistics in general, right? So there's going to be a lot of transformation, but I'll get into that when the time comes. So just kind of keep watch. Like I said before, if you are not subscribed to this channel, go ahead and do so, because you do not want to miss when I dive deep into Jupiter entering into Gemini, because it's going to change the game on many things on so many different forefronts. All right. So that being said, that is all that I have for you all for the month of May. I hope that this was very serving. I hope that you have, a deeper sense of understanding of what is to come for you for the month of May. Also, I hope you all like the changes that we're making. Galactic Gossip is now a podcast, okay? So yeah, with that being said, yeah, y'all have a wonderful month of May. Happy solar return, Geminis, ahead of time. And also, if you are a Taurus and you're seeing this, of course, it's still Taurus season, hopefully. And, happy solar return to you too. I look forward to you all. Oh, wait, I'm not supposed to be leaving yet. We're supposed to be doing our dice. Let's do our dice. But before we do our dice, real quick, announcements. So, like I said, this is going to be a podcast. Also, what else is there? What else is there? Of course, y'all know we have readings, we have Reiki, we have House of Chiron merch. All of that information is in the description box. You can access that info there. Book your readings. I do a certain amount every month. So first come, first serve. Once they're gone, they're gone. I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep them open for the summer, because summers are typically really, really busy for me. So I'm not sure. So if you're looking to get a reading, you might want to get it like during the month of May, because it might be the last month that I offered for quite some time. Let's see. What else do I have? Yeah, there are a lot of changes that are happening with House of Chiron right now, a lot of rebranding. So yeah, y'all just stay tuned for that. I think that's it. So let's get on up out of here. Let's go ahead and roll these dice, because I kept y'all for far too long. Just so much in this month. All right, so we rolled Saturn in Libra in the 11th house. So this is about finding stability, balance, and boundaries within our friendships, our goals, and our networking connections. So we're going to be real social this month of May. So it's all about just kind of keeping things practical, making sure that you are upholding your boundaries, making sure that you are disciplined when it comes to whatever goals and things that you're trying to attain or achieve. Connecting with your friends, that could be something, connecting with new social circles, or getting out there in the community, building something in the community, building balance with the community, building a new community, right? Could be a social community. There may be some changes that are happening when it comes to social media also, because like I said, we know about the TikTok ban and all that good stuff, but the 11th house is the house that rules social media. Anything social interaction, people that you don't necessarily know, whereas the third house is like people you communicate that you do know. So, meeting new people and networking, but upholding our boundaries and just like building towards our goals, our overall goals that we have in life. So also building material gains, things like that. So that's it. That's all. All right. Y'all have a wonderful month of May. Talk to y'all soon.